Did you ever tell Mrs. Thoreau that you wanted to spend 2 days shooting at the Vatican?
Yes.
Why were you going to shoot at the Vatican?
Because I had communications with several officials at the Vatican. Father Giacomo, for instance, who's in charge of is one of the priests in charge of the astronomers at the astrological center of the Vatican. And I spoke to him, and I spoke to Mr. Lombardi, who is the official, spokesperson for the Pope. And they had information valuable for this film that they wanted to share with us. They wanted to talk to us about, they wanted to share information. They wanted me to tell them what is it that Mexico had, and they were going to combine their information, with Mexico and whatever is it that the astronomers of the Vatican had to be useful for the film.
I don't understand. In what way would the information that the Vatican had be useful for the film?
The Vatican has exclusive information regarding, humans and extraterrestrials.
So the Vatican was going to give you exclusive information that they have
Yes.
regarding extraterrestrials for you to use in the film.
Yes, sir.
And did you ever get anything confirming in writing that the Vatican was going to provide you with exclusive information regarding the existence of terrestrials?
We were discussing this over the phone. They prefer not emails. I have several emails, several communications between me and Father Giacomo at the Vatican, yes. And
Have those been delivered to us?
Oh, they will be when the evidence will be presented to you.
No, all of the evidence is supposed to have been presented.
I don't know,
Mr.
sir.
Diaz, do we have those?
No, I don't think so. I personally only have one email, so I have not seen them all. Either I'm not aware of anything.
Well, if you don't have it, I'll provide him for you today.
Okay,
Sure.
so can we stipulate that he will provide you whatever emails he has with the Vatican, and you will provide those to us? Okay, so stipulate.
I will provide those emails.
All right.
So I had several phone conversations with the Vatican officials. They prefer me to call them at a certain number, at a certain cell phone, because they have the reasons why. So,
Did the Vatican have exclusive information about the existence of terrestrials in general, or did the Vatican have information about extraterrestrials' involvement in the Mayan culture?
Okay, I'm going to object. You got two questions there, vague and ambiguous, and calls for speculation.
No.
It's
What did
vague
the
as to
Vatican
word
tell you?
exclusive. What do you
They
What did
said
the
we have
Vatican-
exclusive information.
He said exclusive,
All right,
not
well,
me.
they have exclusive information about not Mayans, about extraterrestrial life. They didn't say about Mayans and extraterrestrials or us and extraterrestrials. They said we have evidence of extraterrestrial life, plenty evidence.
Okay.
And you can find this by Googling in all the articles on CNN and about the Vatican, and they admit, boom, boom, they have all this evidence. So this is nothing new. So you can just Google it.
Well, but I'd like to see your emails.
Sure, you will see the emails.
And did you tell Mrs. Thoreau that you wanted to shoot at the United Nations?
Yes, I did.
And what was the purpose of shooting at the United
The
Nations?
purpose was to bring, the Mayan elders from Mexico and Guatemala to address at a special session at the United Nations to address the world and tell the world, that this is not the end of the world as they've been claiming all over the place. 2012 is the end of the world. So it's the end of one cycle, but the beginning of another cycle that can be very dramatically, destructive for humans. A nuclear war can happen and all these things. So that was the purpose of, combining, the Mayan elders from both countries at the United Nations as part of the finale of the documentary.
Okay. The United Nations had nothing to do with extraterrestrials?
They've been addressed to we have documentation that I think I didn't give you from the Royal Sciences Academy from London. They submit me a whole stash of documents on PDF where they ask the United Nations, they plead the United Nations to form a special committee around the world to inform people about the extraterrestrial life. And I will provide those documents from the Royal Science Academy.
Okay, but did you have any communications with anyone at the United Nations?
No, I didn't.
About no communications
No,
with anyone
no.
at the United Nations. Okay. Okay, so you'll supply us the stuff from the Royal Academy, Mr. Diaz?
When I receive them.
From
You'll
your
get them
client?
today, and I actually
Okay.
told Mrs. Sterriott about those documents too.
Mr. Levy, you previously testified in the declaration that your lawyers filed to get an early hearing on a temporary restraining order, that at the inauguration party for Vincent Fox, you met archaeologists who discussed classified archaeological discoveries relating to the Mayan culture with you. Is that correct?
You're gonna ask me again questions about this film. All this information
No,
is
I'm
supposed to be on
asking
the
you-
film. All this is supposed to be on the film, and I'm not gonna discuss
Not
it.
asking you about the film. I'm asking
You're
you.
asking me for information that it should be in the footage, sir. So I'm not gonna answer any of those questions.
I'm asking you, at an inauguration party for Vincent Fox, did you meet archaeologists
I met archaeologists.
who discussed classified information?
Exclusive information to me, yes. It was at the presidential inauguration for Vicente Fox, and it was the dinner for the head of the states with Fidel Castro, Hugo Chavez, Queen Elizabeth, and among other dignitaries, you know, at that particular event. I was the only individual who had nothing to do with politics or anything allowed in that particular, you know, dinner for the head of the states. No one
And
was.
why were you there?
Why?
were
Because
you
of my
allowed?
relationship with him, with Vicente Fox.
You have a personal relationship.
Yes, and I wasn't the only one. I brought, you know, David Permit with me, the producer.
David Permit.
David Permit came with me, yes. And he actually did a whole little documentary on the entire, nobody was allowed to bring cameras there because Fidel Castro, and a table says, you know, what is this, who are these people? And President Vicente Fox says, I know Raul for many years, and these are his friends from Hollywood. And why is he taping us? He says, because he's doing a little documentary. So David Perman actually shot a documentary of the entire dinner. You know,
And who were these archaeologists that you met?
I can tell you that information. Only you asked me if I met archaeologists, and that's it. I'm not going to discuss
No,
them.
I need to know the names
Sir,
of
you know,
archaeologists.
I'm not going to tell you
You
those.
can tell them the name of these archaeologists. Let them, go ahead.
David Guerra,
How do you spell that?
G-U-R-R-A. David Guerra. And Matos Moctezuma. M-A-T-O-S, Moctezuma. M-O-T-Z-U-M-A.
And where's David Gura?
David Guerra?
Where does he live?
I don't know.
Okay.
It was
Yes,
just,
you answered the
Did you-
question.
I don't know.
Did you meet him for the first time?
That was the first time, and I asked him,
No, that's,
You met him for the first
Yeah.
time, and meeting you for the very first time, he discussed classified archaeological discoveries with you?
yes, no.
yes,
Okay. What classified archaeological
I'm not going to tell
discoveries?
you because you're baiting the situation with the film, sir. So
I'm not asking what you filmed.
I'm not going to tell you, sir. That's it.
What did they discuss?
I'm not going to tell you. That was it. Information Mexico was,
And I'm going to place the objection for hearsay.
yeah.
Hearsay.
You're
What-
asking for what the other guy said to him.
Not for the truth of the matter, but just that it was
Well,
said.
Maybe.
No, I'm not
gonna
trying to
place that.
prove
Can
that
I
what
be
they said is
objective?
true.
I'm
Excuse me.
placing the objection
Excuse me.
anyway.
Can I?
And this is, I think you should do more depositions. This is not a trial where you make a hearsay objection.
Well, I can make an objection for
And-
the
and-
record.
Okay, and let me just,
And if you
as long
want
as
a
you've done
trial-
it, let me just be clear. A hearsay objection is that out-of-court statements are made for the purpose of the truth of the statement. I'm not trying to prove the truth of what they said about the archaeological reports. I am simply trying to confirm what they said to him, whether it's truthful or not.
Okay, they said, and they didn't want into details. They just said, we have. I said, why? I was laughing and I said, "You two are archaeologists." And it was an old man, and I said, "You are an archaeologist yourself?" He goes, "Yes." I said, "What are you two doing here?" And he looked at me and he goes, "What are you doing here? I mean, you're not Fidel Castro or any of these guys. It's only 200 people in the room." I said, "Well, you know, I'm friends with Vicente Fox." He goes, "Oh." They start asking me more questions, and then they went back and asked Vicente Fox. We were sitting on the same tables. Then they come back to me and they said, "Oh, you're so-and-so." We didn't know. I said, "Okay, well, so what are you guys doing here?" I said, "Oh, well, we're going to be working, you know, with the new administration on these archaeological sites that we are investigating." I said, "Wow, this is fascinating. I've been fascinated by the Mayan culture since I was a little kid. I remember being 7 years old and hearing all the stories from these children telling me their ancestors used to fly and they used to go to space and all this magnificent information. So what can you tell me?" And they said, "Well, you know, we can't discuss very much, but there is information that, you know, is supposed to be classified and it's archaeological." And they didn't go into details. That was pretty much it. They were just socializing.
So they didn't tell you any particular sites or any particular...
Yeah, they told me. They told me that they were that they had critical information for humanity, critical information that will change the face of the earth, that will change the way humans think. And that at that point I was very intrigued, and I approached. I just reached to the other side of the table, and I said, "Oh, Vicente, those two, man, this is fascinating. I mean, what can you tell me?" And Vicente Fox says, "Leave it alone. It's too controversial. You know, why do you want to pick up the dust and create so many problems? Just leave it alone. It's not even important." So I knew at that point that I wasn't going to get anywhere during that administration. So that's how I came across to those archaeologists.
Did they say that they had information about extraterrestrials?
Sir, I answered your question, you know. I mean, they didn't go into details. They just said it was information that was very critical for humanity, and that can change the way humans think.
Did they tell you what the nature, what the information
No, sir, they
was?
didn't tell me. No.
And have you been in contact with these
No,
archaeologists?
never
since
again.
then?
Not with them. Not
Never
with them.
again. No,
Never
yeah.
again. Excuse me. Can I get some water, Alex? Just got to take this my pill, please. Will you excuse me for a second, please?
Sure.
I think we need to
Take a
think
break.
about,
I'm sorry. I just need to take
going
my.
to lunch pretty soon here.
Is Larry Stein gonna pay for kimchi and Korean barbecue?
We'll go off the record.
We're going off the record at 11:40.
They have the best kimchi.